Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another puzzle by FullDeck and missing a few cards. Been a couple weeks, I think, or maybe more since I've done one of their puzzles. This one, as you can see, is called Holes, and there's a lot going on, so it looked quite interesting to get into. Let's just jump into our rules and see what exactly we have. So we've got standard Sudoku apply, which means that every row, every column, and 3x3 box will contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. Then we've got modular lines. So any set of 3 adjacent digits along a modular line has 3 different remainders when divided by 3. Now, there's going to be 3 sets of 3 values, which is not stated here, but those values are 147, 258, and 369. So on every single one of these lines, you're going to have groupings of 3, but with one of each of those groups in those 3 adjacent cells. So this could be from the 147, this from 258, this from 369, and this would go back to the 147 because it has to maintain the patterning. So that's the modular lines. Then we have Kropki Pairs, so digits in cells separated by a black dot on a 2-to-1 ratio. Digits in cells separated by a white dot are consecutive, and not all dots are necessarily given. So white dots are these guys. They must be consecutive, so have a difference of 1. And black dots are these guys, so they must be in a 2-to-1 ratio, or one of the digits is twice the other, or half the other, if you prefer to think of it that way. So those are our rules. Nothing out of the ordinary here. We've done all of these types of rule sets before, but just the way they're all grouped together looks quite fun. So let's jump into this thing. Link is in the description below, as always, and let's have some fun, because we know it's going to be a fun puzzle. These are always good. So, question will be, where the heck do we start? And that's a good question. The first couple things I see are where we have multiple black Kropki, because we can start to at least pare down what some of this is. Now, it might be easier to think about how just 2 of them can work together, because we're going to know that these Kropkis have to be in a 1-to-2 ratio, but they also, each one of these 2, at least when they're on one of these lines, must be from 2 separate groupings. So we can plot them out right here just as a reference, so you can visually see what they are. So go away. 147, 258, and 369 are the groupings. So how would we be able to put together one of these black Kropkis on a modular line? Well, we couldn't use the 369 because 3 and 6 have the same remainder when divided by 3. So they cannot be next to each other on a modular line. So it has to be some sharing between the 147 group and the 258 group. So it could be a 1-2, it could be a 2-4, or it could be a 4-8. Those are possible options. Now, every single one of these dots that is on a line must be from the 1, 2, 4, 8 pairing. Now, we have a series here of dots, so this can further influence what this one is. It must stay within that 1, 2, 4, 8, obviously. This one can't be extreme, so it can't be 1 or 8. So I'll leave this here for now until we get into it a little bit further. It's just, again, it's just something to easily look at. And I don't think we're going to get into this middle region too quickly, so it's not too big of a deal. The same thing's going to, and we might actually end up coloring some of this stuff here in a minute, but let's get started here at first. We know this set of Kropkis is also going to be from the 1, 2, 4, 8 grouping, because we can't have 3, 6, 3, or 6, 3, 6, or something like that. So this again is from 1, 2, 4, 8, and again, this is not extreme. So we now may want to start thinking about how these group together. There's also another interesting thing that you can see. It's probably fairly obvious that there is a singular cell in each of these outer regions that is not on a line. So it is the last digit from whatever these is. That may or it probably comes in handy because the name of this thing is holes. These look like they are the holes in the groupings here, but there might be some correlation there that we'll get to, hopefully not too long from now. So, what can we take from what we've just learned or just put into the grid? We have this white Kropki, but I don't know that we can do too much with it because this could obviously be a 1 with a 2. It could be a 2 with a 1 or a 3, a 4 with a 3 or a 5, or an 8 with a 7 or 9. So there's lots of options there. Now, what about these? Can we say anything else about? We know we have... So I think what we're going to say is we know we have 2 of whatever one of these groupings is. So it's either going to be 1, 2, 4, where we have 2 from the 1, 4, 7 group, or it's going to be a 2, 4, 8, where we have 2 from the 2, 5, 8 grouping, which would mean that one of these 2, because we're only going to have 1 more of these groupings, so we can't have these guys, which are going to be a repeat. So one of these 2 would be the last digit of either the 147 or the 258. Now, does that do much for us? I'm thinking about it in that context. Actually, it may even make more sense to think about this one, because this is... Yeah, this is going to be the better way to look at it. These have all 4 of our 1, 2, 4s and 8s. So we know these are all taken. So this one and this one have to be from the 3, 6, 9 group. I don't necessarily have a coloring scheme when it comes to modular lines. I guess I've used yellow for 147 in the past, but I don't remember if I've done anything. So let's just use green for the 3, 6, 9 grouping. So we know these are from 3, 6, 9, which means this is 3, 6. So this is 3, 6. Then we're going to know that this and this must repeat as a 3, 6, 9. What more can we say? We're going to know these 2 are the same. Let's just put the coloring in. These 2 are going to be the same. This will have to be the other version. This will be this version. And then this will be the last digit from 3, 6, 9. Now, we don't quite have this same situation occurring in other regions. So we have to probably work off of this. How are you going to do that? Well, we know that so we're going to know one of these is the remainder for the 3, 6, because it obviously can't be one of these 2, or, well, it's not, yeah, because we have to have a 3, 6, 9 grouping, so one of these is, this one is, and then one of these 3 is. So we have all of our 3, 6, 9s working here in this column in some way. Now, I guess what we can say from this now is we have a 3, 6, so this is from the 1, 2, 4, 8 grouping. And does that propagate into anything? Because again, we can't necessarily say which ones of these are yellow or blue, but we know one of them is. We know that. Can we think about the 3, 6, 9s further? Where's the one go in here? Is it possible that these are from the 3, 6, 9 group? No, it's not, because it would force this to be from the 3.6 to be on the black Kropki, and then it would have to repeat here again, but now we've used all 4 of them. So these cannot be from 369. So the only spot left is here. This is. These again turn out to be from the 1, 2, 4, 8s. Which means this cannot be from 369. This cannot be from 369. So one of these two is. Which means this one is left over as the other 369. So we have all 369s in this column. And let's continue to try to take this further and see where it leads us. I don't want to keep putting in values on these things necessarily because it's going to get everything very crowded. But I guess we do know that this is from the 1, 2, 4, 8. So we have 1, 2, 4, and 8 now completed in this row. We have to have 3 different values from 369. We can only have one of them here, so these are both from 369, which means this is from 369. We also could have said the 1, 2, 4, 8 is done here, so we have to have more in this column. Now, I think we can say the same thing we did it down here in whether or not this could be 3.6 as to whether this could be 3.6. Because again, it would force these two to be 3.6. So these are not. I said I didn't want to put digits in, but I want to put these into, because I don't want to use color because I don't know how they correlate necessarily in the actual coloring. But I want to remember that these are not from the 3.6. So these are, which means we have one of these will be 369. One of these will be 369. This is the other one. And if these are from the 1, 2, 4s, and 8s, we know one of them is the 1, 4, 7s. One of them is 2, 5, 8. The other two are from 3, 6, 9. Which means we only have one more left on here, which means this one is. Okay. Which means we have all 3 of our 169s or 369s on here. This one has to be 1. So all 3 of these are done, and all of these are done. Therefore, this has to be the last one. And these two both have to be 369 for the same concept. So this one, I could have gotten this stuff a lot quicker, but had to work through some of these processes to make it to work. So again, 3, 6s, and 9s are all done in all these. So this is. So it looks like we're going to get most of our greens worked out here. If we can, well, maybe not, because this one doesn't quite have those same constructions. Now we know these are not, so one of these two, we said this previously. One of these is green. We know none of these are, but one of these is. Is it possible that this one is? Because it forces this one to be and forces this one to be. I think that works just fine. Because if this is a white Kropki, because this one being a 369 does not force the 369s into these places. But we still can't necessarily say that this isn't a 369 instead of this one. So, how are we continuing now to color this thing? Because I think we have to get through probably a good chunk of our coloring before we can really move on. These are not. One of these is. This is either blue or yellow. We're going to have to start thinking about blues and yellows at some point here, but the 369 is the most restricted when it comes to our Kropki, so they are working themselves out much better. So in this grouping, we've got to think about this guy, because that probably will come back down to figure out what this is. We know we have 2 of the 3 6s and 9s. We have all of the 1, 2, 4s and 8s. So this is 5, 7, and 1 of the 3 6 or 9s. I just want to put that in here for a second to look at it. Does it force anything here? It's a good question that I'm not quite sure I can currently answer. I guess what we can, and again, I guess it does help to put these in just as a reflection of what can occur. Because I don't want to use coloring because I don't know how it correlates back to the original coloring set, and we might have to change that coloring set at some point if we can't find the right intro. So which one of these can we get we've got to be able to get the 369 finalized in these things. This one we haven't finished, but we know it's in one of these two. Same goes for this. We know it's in one of these two. We know one of these is a 369. If we knew where it, if we knew it went here, we could continue to color because we would know this would be 369. Therefore, these could not be, which would force this one to be, etc., etc. So maybe there is something on these Kropkis now that we can, because if we know this is 369, that doesn't really help us, does it? Because this could just be an 8, 4 or a 7, or a 2 or a 4. But I don't think we can get into that or how that interacts yet. So, again, just got to find this one thing that's going to keep moving me forward here. And I'm struggling for some reason. Wait, why do I have... Hold on. I don't know why I put those in like that. That wasn't accurate at all. Because we obviously were missing the 5 and the 7 there. It was really just a... It was bad marking, but it was doing the job it was meant to do. But it isn't required. How do I finish the 369s? That's my quandary at the moment. And I'm struggling to see it. Well, I guess we can think about these guys. Now that I'm looking at this column, these have to be from 5 and 7. It's the only thing left over because 3, 6, 9 is done. 1, 2, 4, 8 is done. Now it doesn't give us coloring. but we do have a white Kropki here. So we know if it's a 5, this would be a 4. If it's a 7, this would be an 8. Because it couldn't be 3, 6, or 9. Because those are already placed. This guy. And again, that doesn't really set it up. Except it does give us a 1, 2, 4, 8 grouping. So I guess this is 5 and 7 as well. This can't, okay, let's go through this route, because this is actually getting us somewhere. This can't be a 4-8 pair anymore, so this is not an 8. So this has a 2 on it, which means this does not. Is there anything else I can get out of this? One, 2, 4, 4, 2, 1, 8, 4, 2. This is never an 8, I think is what that says. If that's the case, let's think about that, because that could give us, that's going to give us a digit if it is. And it could break this all open now. Took too long to get there, but we might finally be there. It's too concentrate on coloring here. If this cannot be a 2, the options are 1, 2, 4, 4, 2, 1, or 8, 4, 2. This can never be 8. This is 8, 4, 2. And 4. These are not 4s. Now we do actually have coloring we can do. And I'm going to remove these for now. So we can actually focus on what we do know. I'm going to say that's blue. This 4 forces the 5 and a 7, which means this is yellow, this is blue. Okay, the 2 gives us the 1 and the 2, the 5 gives us the 7. These can't have a 2 on it, so they are a 4-8 pair. Okay, this is starting to break up a little bit, but let's continue with our coloring. These are both blue. Okay, so these both have to be blue. If they're blue, this is 8 and 4. Then we can start digging into some of this other stuff. This can't be a 4-8 pair. It's a 1-2 pair, which means this is 8, 4, 2. Yeah, this is now working just fine. These have to be yellow, so this has to be 1. This is blue. It is, well, this is a 2-5 pair here. Okay. We're going now. So that's good. This is yellow. This has to be blue. One of these is yellow, one of these is blue. We don't know which one just yet. Let's continue coloring though. Yellow, and these are both blue. This is 1 yellow, 1 blue, which means this is yellow. This is yellow. This is blue. One of these must be blue. And, well, it can't be a 1-2 pair, obviously, because of that. So, can we say which one is which? The 1-2 pair here actually gives us 5 and 2. This is 1, this is 7, this is 1. Okay. We know these are from 369. That's not helping us too much at the moment. This is, again, either yellow or blue. Whichever one it is, it's going to finalize all these rows. Can we take it down onto one of these? Well, this can't be a 1-2 pair. because that would break this. So there is a 4 on it, and none of these are 4s. Therefore, this is. This has to be a 1-2 pair. This is 8. Okay, again, we're moving even better now. So we've got this stuff doing. This is a 1-2 pair. This blue means these are both yellow. This is yellow. This has to be the blue. And if this is yellow, it is 1, and this is 2, which means 2 and 1. And there we have our coloring now. These are both yellow. These are blue. This grouping here cannot both be yellows, so this is 8, 4, and we can color those. This has to be the last blue. And we can get rid of this stuff. Don't need that anymore. This is 5. This is 5. This is 2. This is 7. This is 9. This has to be blue, and it has to be 5. All right. This 8 means this is either 7 or 9. Don't see a correlation there just yet. We know. No, we don't know. Again, one of these is 3, 6, or 9. We don't quite know which one is which yet. I don't know that we want to get into putting 3, 6s, and 9s at the moment. So, what can we start thinking about these last few clues that we have? This guy. I'm just going to run through our options here just to kind of work them out. So this can't be 1, obviously. Can't be 4. So this is not yellow, which means one of these two is. And whatever one it is, it's a 4. And we have a 4 up here. So this is 4 and yellow. And we need one of these to be yellow, one of them to be green. We have all of our yellows. So this is green and yellow. And then we can get rid of this extra information that we don't need. So these are both green, as in 3, 6, and 9s. This has to be blue. This has to be blue and yellow. That solves that portion of it. We have what left over in here. If this is green, it's from 3, 6, or 9, which means this is not green. So it's 5 or 7. We don't have that necessarily worked out yet. Go away, scam caller. Thank you very much. So how do we now finalize the rest of this stuff? These obviously can't be green. Is there anything that is ruled out between yellow and blue? It doesn't look like it, unless maybe we start thinking about how Sudoku fits in. Because where does the 5 go? It goes here. Okay, that's what it was. The 5 is blue. Therefore, this is blue. These still, again, are our yellow and green, which means this is the other yellow. This has to be 7. Wait, was that right? Hold on. I think I might have screwed that up. Looking at the column, this is yellow. That's the way to think about it. And it has to be 7, therefore this is 9, and it is green, which means this is yellow. It did work out the same way because we had 1 yellow, 1 green, so this was the only one that could be yellow. But anyway, this is 1. This is 8. This is 3 or 6. Okay, now, next in line is going to be what? You're 4, you're 7, you are 7. think we've done most of our yellows, so we can probably go into the middle here, but I'm going to try to finish this first. It just seems like more fun to do it that way. So let's think about it. There has to be a 1 in one of these two because of the 4s and 7s. So the 1 here says this is 1. So these are both yellow. Good. Get rid of this stuff. We don't need it anymore. This is blue. We know these are going to be a blue and green grouping in some way. And we can say that this is a 2. This is an 8. So the 5 is what's up here. The 5 here shows it. So this is 5 and blue, which means this is green. And it is from 3, 6, or 9. Good. Now we have all of our color done on the outside. Now it just looks fun. So let's fill this stuff out now, because we should be able to. And I won't go into 3, 6s, and 9s just yet. Well, maybe I will, because this is 3, 6. This has to be 9, which forces 3, 6, etc., etc. But this is 9. We know that these then are 3 and 6, which forces this to be 9. So that is helpful. One of those two is the 9, blah, blah, blah. This one is the 9. Okay. Let's finally, I keep saying I'm going to do it, but look into the center here. We have this as a 1 and yellow. Ooh, no, I want to be on the 4 here. Thank you. This is 4 and yellow. What about the 7? We should be able to place it. This is the yellow 7. Let's think about our 2s and blues. This is 2 blue. Let's look at 5s. This is 5 blue. And then we have an 8 somewhere in one of these. It's here. So 8 and blue. These are all green. Now we have our colorings done. We can go through and finalize what is what. And it is probably going to be some Kropki, like this one here, that's going to finalize everything. It does. So this is a 3, 6 pair. Let's go in and just put what we know and fill these guys out. Now we know the 2 goes with the 3, so we are going to be able to put in all of our 3s and 6s. And after probably about 10 minutes longer than it should have been, because I couldn't see where I was supposed to be looking, we are now going to be pretty much done. I gotta finish these guys. This is a 5. This is an 8. Where's the... Here, go step back to our 3 6s. 6 and 3. There we go. You saw the puzzle solution is correct. So, that one's been out for a while. I didn't think it's been... It might have been on a... or hadn't been released to Logic Masters Germany. Because I don't believe... It's not been on Logic Masters Germany for that long. So, anywho, 33 minutes. Like I said, it should have probably taken about 5-10 minutes less time than it did, just because it took me a second to cut back to Sudoku and the Kropkis to start figuring out the coloring again. But anywho, that said, always excellent puzzles from FullDeck and missing a few cards. Hope y'all enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.